Hi everyone and welcome back to the channel. This is the 6th video in the retirement planning and pension series, and today I'm going to cover off the state pension and what you need to know about it. I'll start by looking at the basics, so what the state pension is and the current level of payments. I'll then look at whether you should buy additional years, and if so, what sort of return this can provide, and whether you should defer your state pension. I'll also be covering the older style of the state pension and contracting out. In the video, I cover different topics, so if you're after something in particular, check out the timestamps below and feel free to skip to that section. Before I get into the video, the majority of viewers on this channel aren't subscribed, so if you could subscribe down below, it'd really help the channel out. So let's start from the beginning. What is the state pension? The UK state pension is a regular payment from the government that you can claim when you reach state pension age. This is designed to provide a basic level of income during your retirement. Typically, this is only one part of someone's retirement income and is often supplemented with other money they might receive or built up through workplace pensions or savings and investments. The state pension as a whole operates on what is known as a pay-as-you-go basis. So the funding for today's state pension payments to those who are entitled to it comes from current workers' and employers' national insurance contributions and general taxation. Currently, the minimum age you can receive your state pension is 66, but will start gradually increasing again from May 2026. And the full level of state pension for the 2024-25 tax year is £221.20 a week, which is an annual income of £11,502.40. One real benefit of the state pension is that it increases each year by a system known as triple lock. Each year in April, the state pension will increase by the largest number of the following three metrics. These are A, how much general costs have risen based on September's Consumer Price Index, which is a measure of inflation. B, the average increase in wages between May and July. Or C, a straight 2.5%. So at the last increase in April 2024, option A, so September CPI, was 6.7%. But option B, the average increase in earnings, was 8.5%. And therefore, as this was the highest number out of the three, it was used as the state pension increase percentage. So who is eligible for the state pension? The level of state pension you receive depends on how many qualifying years of national insurance payments you have. This includes national insurance contributions that you pay when you are working and contributions that are credited to you when you are unable to work. You'll need to have at least 10 years of national insurance contributions to receive the bare minimum. And to receive the full state pension amount I referenced earlier, you'll need to have 35 qualifying years. A qualifying year can be made up through employed earnings, self-employed earnings, and national insurance credits. On the screen here shows the criteria for how a qualifying year can be built up, and I'll leave links to this in the description below. One other way you can build up qualifying years is through voluntary contributions. If you have gaps in your national insurance record, perhaps if you didn't meet the earnings threshold in particular years, or you were living abroad, then you have the option to backfill contributions for certain years. Now, this is of importance as there is a deadline around this on the 5th of April 2025, so that is less than 9 months away. If you're a man born after 5th of April 1951 or a woman born after 5th of April 1953, then you have until the 5th of April 2025 to pay voluntary contributions to make up for gaps between April 2006 and April 2016. After the 5th of April 2025, you will still be able to make voluntary contributions, but this will only be for the past 6 years. Before you go ahead and start making contributions, we need to assess whether this is worthwhile for you. The first step is to check your state pension forecast to see what you are estimated to receive based on your contributions so far, and a future forecast if you continue to contribute. In my case, my forecast shows that if I continue working for another 24 years, then I will be on track to receive the full state pension. So for me, making voluntary contributions would likely be a waste, as I anticipate I'll be making these future contributions through work. And in the event I don't, I still have the option in the future to backdate up to 6 years. However, if you're closer or at the state pension age and you are not forecasted to receive the full state pension, then the decision to make voluntary contributions may be well worth it. For example, let's say you're 60 and you plan on retiring in 2 years' time at age 62. However, you only have 28 qualifying years of national insurance contributions. Therefore, there's a gap of 7 years to be made up to receive the full state pension. As you'll be working for another 2 years, this means you would want to find 5 years where you can make voluntary backdated contributions. On your national insurance record, you can see that you do not have full years between 2010 and 2016. In this instance, you would likely want to top up any partial years first, and if needed, then make full year voluntary contributions. Where you will want to consider making voluntary contributions is if you have gaps in your national insurance record and your forecast indicates the years you need to work to receive the full state pension are less than you anticipate on doing. Typically, this will affect those who are between age 40 and 73, and if this is you, I would first check to see if you can fill any gaps with national insurance credits. To check your national insurance records, I've left a link in the description below. Here you can see whether you have a full year or a partial year, and I've also left links on how you can make a voluntary contribution. So we've covered what to think about when making voluntary contributions, but if you do make a voluntary contribution, what do you get in return? A year of voluntary national insurance contributions costs £824, which can add up to £328 each year to your pre-tax state pension. This is one of the best returns out there, as effectively you will have made your money back by year 3. If you live for another 20 years after the state pension, this is an extra £6,560, which remember is covered by the triple lock, so the annual payment will increase over time. Can you defer your state pension? The answer is yes, you can. For every 9 weeks you defer your state pension, it increases by 1%, which currently equates to £2.20 a week. If you defer for a full year, you get an extra 5.8%, which is £12.82 a week. Based on the current state pension, deferring for a year would mean an extra £667 a year for life, increasing by the triple lock. However, you would have given up that first year of state pension income. Whether this makes sense from a financial point of view depends on future state pension increases and how long you live for. But based on a 2.5% increase each year, it would take another 22 years for you to become financially better off when looking at total income received from the state pension. So if you defer for 1 year until age 67, your total accumulated income from the state pension would become higher from age 89 onwards. Where deferring a state pension may make sense for you is for tax reasons. The state pension counts as taxable income, and if you are due to receive your state pension but still working and receiving taxable income, then deferring your state pension until you have left your job may make sense, as once you leave your job you may drop down the tax bands, and therefore when you start receiving the state pension you can now keep more of it. The next topic I'm going to cover is the older style of state pension, where you could contract out part of it. Before April 2016, the state pension worked in a different way and consisted of 2 parts: the basic state pension and the additional state pension. The basic state pension was a flat rate pension based on national insurance contributions, very similar to the state pension we have now. The second part was known as the additional state pension, which was a top up to the basic one. The additional state pension has had different names throughout the years, as from 1978 to 2002 it was called State Earnings Related Pension Scheme, or SERPs for short, and after 2002 it was known as the State Second Pension, or S2P. Prior to 2016, the government previously allowed people to contract out of the additional state pension or a decision to contract out could be taken by the occupational pension scheme you were part of, so you had no choice in contracting out. If this was you, you would have paid lower national insurance contributions, which resulted in foregoing all or part of your additional state pension. However, in exchange, the money you saved went into a separate pension scheme. This could be your employer's occupational pension scheme or a personal pension. Whether or not you've reached state pension age, the level of state pension you receive could be affected if you contracted out of the additional state pension. If you reach state pension age before April 2016, you will receive the older basic state pension, but will have a reduced or no additional state pension depending on how long you were contracted out for. If you're yet to reach state pension age or reached it after April 2016, then you'll be eligible to receive the new state pension, which I talked about at the start of the video. The amount you receive may be lower if you were ever contracted out, but again, this depends on how long for and whether you have built up any further qualifying years after 2016. To check this, it is best to look at your state pension forecast, again using the link in the description below. Another question I'm asked is, can you inherit the state pension? Firstly, it's important to say that only a spouse or civil partner can potentially inherit a state pension. In most cases, payment of your spouse's state pension will stop completely when your spouse dies. However, there are a few circumstances in which you will continue to receive a portion of your late partner's state pension after their death. The rules around this are quite complicated as it depends on the amount of national insurance contributions you both made and when you both reached or will reach state pension age. Generally, what you get, if anything, is far less generous if you reached or are still due to reach state pension age after April 2016. If you think you may be eligible to inherit your late partner's state pension, it is best to check this with the pension service, and I'll leave a link in the description below on how to do this. So there is an overview of the state pension, which for many is an important part of their retirement planning and retirement income. However, likely only one part of your overall financial situation. So if you want to brush up on your general pension knowledge, then click the video here where I go through the basics of defined contribution and defined benefit pensions. And I'll see you over there.